Good morning, great Americans. It's another great American video. This is our 4th of July Independence Day the year of our Lord 2025 video. I hope you watch it and share it. I hope you subscribe to our pages on Rumble, YouTube, and uh, BitChute, although I prefer Rumble. If you're going to subscribe to one, subscribe to Rumble, and also subscribe to the Substack page. So you know, it it's amazing. It's sort of sad that this 4th of July, many people will be out, maybe even having a barbecue or whatever, and so many people, especially probably more young people, don't really appreciate the greatness of America and how fortunate and lucky they are to be in America. So many young people these days are literally taught in school to hate America and think it's a terrible thing. It's responsible for all kinds of bad things, which is so terrible and so wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And I'm not going to get into that all right now because I have plenty of videos about how the education has been destroyed by the left and that type of thing. I just want to focus on this and remind everybody um, when studying or reading about a historical event, it's really important to put yourself in the time, in the context of the time of that event, right? And what are the what was happening at that time. It's so easy to judge people in the past by today's standards, and it's just wrong. I mean, nobody could pass that test. But let's go back to 1776 and remember something very important. This was a world, the entire planet, the whole world was ruled by absolute rulers, whether they were kings or the czars of Russia or the potentates or mullahs or emperors or dictators or whatever. The entire planet was ruled by kings and queens and rulers. There's no democracies and stuff. And so that is the world that these men behind me, these amazing, brilliant men lived in. And to think at that time that they would write this Declaration of Independence that I'm about to read to you a couple of sentences, and it's so important. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. And here's the this is the most important line of them all, in my opinion. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And it goes on to some more very important stuff, but let's stop there because this is so. How many people stop and think about this sentence? This sentence, in my opinion, is inspired by God. We hold these truths to be self-evident. In other words, you could just observe nature and observe man, which means, and by the way, that means men and women. Come on, let's not. You can observe nature and observe mankind and see that these are true, that all men and women are created equal, right? You can see it. Just look at them. Everybody has two arms, two legs, and we're all people. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And this is the key. It's not the job of government to tell you what your rights are and are not. It is not the government a job of, oh, I should say, actually, let me rephrase that. It is not the job of government to create rights and tell you what rights you have. It is not the job of government to to take away your rights. They don't have the right. You're not hiring them to do that. The job of government is to protect the rights that God gave you because you are endowed by your creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I'm not even going to go into that first one. I'll let all the pro choice people can stew on that. Everybody, every human being has the right to their life. I have the right to my life to not be killed. So we're going to leave that at that. I've got plenty of abortion videos. I'm not going down that road. This is the 4th of July. But it's important to remember how amazing, truly amazing, the founding fathers really were. Again, in a world of kings and queens, emperors, absolute rulers, dictators, and generals like Napoleon that ruled and all that kind of stuff, these guys said, no, 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 no. We're going to have elections. We're going to have the people are going to decide who rules them. And they will only be able to serve for a short while. And the only reason they're here is to protect the rights that God has given every man and woman. Uh, and that concept was very dangerous in those days. Oh yeah, if you're a king or some sort of potentate or emperor or something like that, these are very dangerous words. And they were dangerous words. And America was the first. And then other countries later on, they jumped on the bandwagon. France, very notable, and lots of other countries followed suit. But we were the first. These men standing behind me that so many of these disgusting left-wing Democrats ridicule. Oh, they were slave owners. They were this, they were that. Look, like I said at the top of this video, it's important to place yourself in the context of the times whenever analyzing any historical event. And in the context of the times, these men were inspired and brilliant, and they were bringing to the world something that man has longed for ever since the Hebrews were slaves in the land of Goshen and before that. And that is liberty and freedom and the right to live my life without anybody trying to take away my rights. And if someone does try to take away my rights, then there's a Supreme Court to go to and all that. And speaking of rights, rights are not something that are made up by man. Your rights are granted to you by God. Now, I'm not going to go into that either. There's a big problem these days with people talking about rights, all kinds of crazy, kooky rights that don't even exist. They're all political slogans. They're not real rights. So I have I have a story. I have an article about real rights. I'll put the link to in this video, so check it out. But anyway, that's a whole other story. We're gonna pass by that today too. Anyway, this Independence Day, try to bear in mind what we're really celebrating. I mean, go out, have fun, have barbecue, stuff yourself. It's stuff yourself in a world where people are starving to death. Don't feel bad that you're stuffing yourself because you live in a country where that is possible, and it's only possible because of freedom and liberty and to a lesser extent, no government. I mean, that's what made America rich and prosperous was the whole idea of freedom and liberty and doing what you want and owning your own thing. And oh, maybe someone comes up with an invention and it makes life easier. And they make money off of it and they create jobs and somebody else invents the washing machine. Somebody invents the tractor. Now we can grow tons of food and eat tons of food. I mean, it's when the freedom of man is unleashed, wonderful things happen. Whatever government starts to regulate and put its foot on the neck of the freedom of man, bad things happen. So we celebrate this 4th of July, these men behind me, inspired by God, with amazing foresight to do something that nobody had ever dreamed of doing. The greatest, grandest experiment in the history of the human race. The idea of creating a republic. We call it a democracy, it's really a republic, where 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 the only thing that government is supposed to do is to secure the rights that God gave you and secure your freedom and liberty and nothing else. All right. They're not supposed to spend uh, uh, all that stuff that we saw in the Doge, all that. But that is not the job of government. Uh, Government should be very small and it should only do those few things, and that's it. So, anyway, that's why we're here. Those words, the idea that your rights come from God and that government should only be elected by men to people to secure those rights, those were very dangerous words in those days. If you were a king in England, you were a czar in Russia, you were an emperor in Japan or China or wherever, these were dangerous words. These men were dangerous to the kings and queens around the world, but they began something that now all the free nations of the world enjoy. They got their own version of it, right? But it wasn't long after America declared independence that the other nations are saying we want that. Then came France and all the other ones, and now most of Europe is pretty much like that, and some other countries have some other versions of that. But we started that ball rolling, and I believe it was inspired by God. And sure, we've had some bumps along the way. We've had some problems, but that's the other amazing thing about this nation is that we overcame those problems. That's the amazing thing because nothing created by man is ever perfect. I never said that the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution is perfect. Nothing created by man is perfect, but it was pretty darn close, and it was close enough that it allowed its for self correction. So that's important. So anyway, I have a great 4th of July. Have a burger on me, have a hot dog on me. Enjoy yourselves, be safe, but please remember how important this is and how amazing it really, really is that men of those days in that type of world, like I said, a world that knew nothing about democracies or republics, and it was all kings and rulers and emperor. In that world, that these men should step forward and commit their lives and their treasures to creating the freedom that you and I have today, uh, how amazing they really were, how much they deserve our respect. So please click the links that I put in the description of this video. Please subscribe to my page and have a great Independence Day 2025. And I will see you in the next great American video. Adios, muchachos.